You're watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV from Toronto, Ontario. This is Samia Sayed. Welcome to the show. Now joining us soon is Sister Rola Elroz on her new teaching initiative, Audibly. But first, let's take a look at the headlines. François Legault gains back-to-back victory. Experts say no system to record maternal deaths. Faisal Mirza joins the Superior Court of Ontario. Afghan Hazaras vow return to class despite bombing. And now the details. François Legault's coalition Avenir Quebec, the CAQ, has gained a back-to-back victory in Quebec's election, this time forming an even larger majority. The CAQ has won the highest number of seats in a Quebec election since 1989. Political analysts were predicting Legault's victory despite the CAQ making controversial statements during the campaign. The premier had linked immigrants to extremism and violence. He later apologized for his remarks. After the victory, Legault addressed his supporters in Quebec City with the party slogan saying, quote, "Quebecers told us, let's continue." The Liberals have secured the second spot, forming the official opposition. Maternal health experts in Canada say there is no system in place to record information on maternal deaths and near-death experiences, a media source reports. Dr. Jocelyn Cook, the Chief Scientific Officer of the Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists of Canada, says there is no record of how many mothers die during pregnancy or in the months after childbirth. Expecting mothers in Canada are dying from conditions like preeclampsia, a severe high blood pressure leading to seizures or coma. The experts call this lack of information tragic, as most of these deaths are preventable and are no longer a cause of maternal death in countries with improved maternal health systems. This year's court opening sees 5 new appointments for the Ontario Superior Court of Justice. Faisal Mirza, Lisa Brownstone, Joan M. Barrett, Michael Borden, and Julie Richard will join Ontario's courthouses as new judges. Mirza will preside at the Superior Court of Ontario in Brampton. Mirza is the past president of the Canadian Muslim Lawyers Association and the co-founder of the Muslim Legal Support Center. Superior Court judges are selected through the judicial application process. The selection is based on merit and transparency and reflects the diversity of Canada. David Lametti, Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada, while announcing the appointments, wished them success. Dozens of Afghan men and women have taken to the streets after a devastating attack on a learning center in a Shia minority area on Friday. The attack that took place in a Hazara minority neighborhood in western Kabul killed at least 35, according to a UN death toll. A tall man dressed in military fatigues fired continuously, forcing the girls to hide under the benches, recalls a 19-year-old female student. After the gunfire, the bomber blew himself up, causing the ceiling of the class to fall down. The Hazaras community comprises between 10 to 20% of Afghanistan's 38 million citizens. So far, no group has claimed responsibility of the attack. And that's it for the news. Now, a recent initiative is trying to help Canadians learn Arabic and more, while also helping teachers in the Middle East and North African region. Sister Rola Elroz, the Chief Education Officer of Audibly, is joining us now to tell us more. Welcome, Sister Rola, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Sister Rola, let's begin broadly. What is Audibly?
Audibly is an initiative to help it's kind of like support the teachers, and not just teachers. We kind of, if someone has experience, they don't necessarily have a license in teaching, can also send them the resume and CV, and it's to assign them to students here. And the sole purpose is to give them help and support and financial support as opposed to donations. So have them pick themselves up and use their potential and skills to keep themselves going, inshallah.
How did this idea come about?
Actually, it was a few years back. I've been wanting to do something for Lebanon. That's where I'm originally from. And I discussed it with a relative of mine in Texas, and we were brainstorming different ideas. And then the idea died down after that. You know, life gets busy. And then, like 2, 3 years later, we started, and in 2021, in June, I contacted a friend in Lebanon because the situation kept getting worse and worse. And then the US dollar over there, this value was going insane. So I contacted her, and I asked her if she if she knows any teachers there that can work and can teach Arabic or French, and then I can just work on finding the students here. And it started off as something very small, and she's one of our co-founders as well. And then this is where our third co-founder came in, and he said, "Why not expand and go further? Like Lebanon, Egypt, Syria, Palestine, so many countries are in need. And how about we get teachers from any country and whatever they can teach?" And the purpose would then become, I want to help a person in this specific region or specific country, so I want to hire someone from there, and we get them to teach you from there. So as opposed to donating to my back home Lebanon, I can hire teachers. Someone wants to help Palestinians, they hire from there. So it's a win-win situation. Our kids here are losing the language, the Arabic language. They want to strengthen French. Our math curriculum is not the greatest here, so we also offer math. So we keep increasing the languages and the subjects as we go.
And from what I understand, you're a teacher yourself. So how did your experiences fuel into Audibly?
So knowing the curriculum is weak here is how it helped me understand that we have so many students that, one, don't know the language of Arabic. The religion is another issue. And then I'm a math teacher, and that's where I also knew that math is not the strongest, and coding as well. So we brought in coding based on as well trying to bring up these kids, and people back home usually are stronger in a lot of these fields. So knowing the curriculum and knowing what education is like here kind of helped me decide what subjects to put on the table and what to offer.
Can you share a story of one of your teachers and how much Audibly has helped support them?
We have actually, I'd like to share two, if that's okay, real quick. We have one teacher who's actually a cancer patient, and the income we provide is for treatment for her. So that alone kind of changed. Like, I was like, that's all I care about right now. Like, we're helping one teacher. That's all. Even if we have only one right now, that's all that matters. Our second is actually a refugee from like a different country, living in this. I don't want to give too much information for for privacy issues. And they're really struggling, and they have kids, so they can't actually afford food for their family. And they have like two. He has 2 kids. So he's actually saying this money is what puts food on the table for his family. So, and even though sometimes the money's due at the end of the month for them, we have some teachers requesting it to get some advance payment because they want to go pay their electricity bill, or they want to go pay they want to get groceries, and they can't actually get it. So we end up giving them prepayment beforehand. And they just don't want to accept donations. So they know they worked for it. They know their hours are going to come up, but they sometimes just request a prepayment if that's possible. And we, of course, help that out.
And how many of these teachers do you have?
Currently, we have around 20 teachers.
And how much do you plan to expand that?
Oh my goodness. If I can go to the thousands, I would love to.
Now, you alluded to this slightly before, but why would parents or children want to learn from a teacher that's overseas?
They can select their dialect, right? So what matters to many Arabs that we've met, and we've done a survey before as well, is they want someone from their own background teaching their students. That's number one. So I want a Lebanese person. I want someone who speaks the Palestinian dialect. Now, some countries we can't get into, so we get the people from the country, like the dialect from a different city, like Palestinians living in Lebanon, Syrians living in Turkey, right? So that's number one. You choose the person with your own dialect, which is very hard here to find. 2, it's cheaper. 3, you get to help back home, right? You're helping your people back home. You're choosing the people you want to help, right? So you get that choice. I'm not limiting people to Lebanon. That's how we originally started. You can help the people you want. And 4, the Arabic here is not the same as when you learn it back home, right? It's a lot stronger. So they get to learn Fusha, or they can even choose dialectal Arabic, right? So it's like, I don't want my kids to learn to read and write Arabic. I want them just to speak. So the whole tutoring session would be just them learning how to speak because their children don't speak the language. So that's why it's easier to connect with someone there. And with that in your back, like, you know, you're thinking it subconsciously, like, I'm helping someone, right? You know, there's an incentive here. You know, there's more than just, I'm getting a lesson. And it's for adults as well, actually. It's not just for students.
Now, as you said, Audibly is expanding. It started off with Arabic, but I saw now there's French, religious studies. You said coding. I also saw that there was Spanish and more upon request. So basically, anyone could just come in and say, you know, I'm looking for a teacher to teach this subject, and then you would go and find them?
Yes, that's one way. And then we also have another way where we have teachers who apply saying, I can teach this specific subject. So we go, okay, sure. We put it up there, right? We add it on the website that we have this as well, right? So it works both ways. So if they need someone, for example, now we have some requests for Algeria. We haven't even went into Algeria yet, but now that we're getting a lot, it's not the first request. We got a few. Now we're going into Algeria, trying to break into Algeria as well.
Now, as this process expands, which it seems like it is, what is your mission statement or your goal throughout this whole process?
Our goal is to eventually not just employ them. Our goal is to actually get them the training that you would here as an OCT teacher, for example. Get them internet as well, because some of them are actually, we do hire many teachers, but some of them can't actually work with us because their internet doesn't work too well. So right now we're able to kind of fund some of these teachers, but not everybody. So our goal is to help fund all of them, inshallah, where we give them the internet possibility. If they can't afford electricity, or if they don't have electricity from the government, you got to pay for that substitute. So we cover that. We're trying to eventually cover that, inshallah. And one of my biggest dreams, inshallah, our biggest dream is sending solar laptops where you charge based on the solar electricity and not to actually rely on electricity, which would be cheaper in the future, inshallah.
That sounds incredible. Thank you so much, Sister Rola, for coming on the show and sharing more about this wonderful initiative. And all the best luck. It sounds amazing work, the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me, Sister Samia. I appreciate it. And thank you for listening.
You are watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. That's it from our Toronto studios tonight. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more Canadian Muslim content. Stay safe, and until next time.